Good morning and welcome to Morning Glory. My name is Azman Shah, and today we're going to talk about stress. As you're watching this program, I'm assuming that some of you are getting ready for work, some of you are getting your children ready for school, and some of you are probably having your breakfast and preparing breakfast, your nasi lemak and your teh tarik and stuff. And you're preparing for the day today. Unfortunately, today is going to be a stressful day. Stress, whether we like it or not, exists. Stress is something that we cannot run away from. But stress does not mean that it's going to be something that is destructive. There are many stresses in life, and it's how we perceive, it's how we manage those stresses. Let's take an example. You get a phone call this morning, and your mother-in-law says, I'm coming over and I'll be staying over for the next week. I bet some of you right now thinking of your mother-in-law coming is a stressor to you. You'll be sweating, you'll be worried, or you'll be concerned, you know, and some of you, you know, look at that as an opportunity. Oh great, mother-in-law is coming over, you know, she's going to spend time with the kids, you know, she's going to cook, you know, and you know, you have the opportunity to have good food and stuff. It depends on how we look at the stresses. Let's take another example. You finish up at home, you're ready to go to work, you get into your car, you leave at the right time and everything. You get onto the highway, then all of a sudden there's a huge jam, and you know you're going to be late for work. Some of us, we sit down there, cool, you know, we're very relaxed, there's nothing we can do, you know. And basically we just manage ourselves and then we go along with it. But some people, they get so stressed out in the car. You know, they start honking, they start trying to squeeze their way out and so on and so forth. They start shouting, screaming, sweating and everything. The stresses are still the same, you know, but it's how we perceive the stresses. Now, these two factors is contributing to our stress early in the morning. What are some of the symptoms? Some of the basic symptoms of stress here, we talk about physical symptoms, is you get your muscles, you get very tense. Some people get headaches, backaches. Some people feel a little bit nausea. Your heart rate goes up, yeah? Your blood pressure. And most likely your face will be flushed. These are some of the physical stresses that we experience. Emotional symptoms. Unfortunately, this is one of the main byproduct of stress. And we always hear of a child abuse. Something does not go so well at the workplace. The parent comes home, you know, he has to deal with the environmental stress, he has to deal with the traffic, he comes home, he sees his child, his temper, his patience is already thin, and he strikes out at his child. This is an unfortunate symptom of stress. "60 or 70% of the stress that we experience come from internal factors. Internal factors are basically unrealistic expectations that we put upon ourselves. We are unable to identify our limits. We tend to be perfectionists, not giving us the opportunity to make mistakes. These are unnecessary stresses that we put upon ourselves. External factors are factors that we have no control over in regard to these stressors. Unpredictable events, weathers, economies and so on and so forth. These are the two main areas where we talk about internal and external stressors. Can we avoid stress? Well, actually no. Stress is going to be with us. Millions and millions of years ago, our ancestors also experienced stress, but their stress may not be as frequent and may not be to the degree that we are experiencing today. But stress is unavoidable. Now, we can look at stress as from two perspectives. One, we talk about positive stress, and one, we talk about negative stress. Now, each and every one of us need a certain degree of stress to do our jobs, to do work well. Stress motivates us. Stress gives us the urgency. And the other aspect of stress is the negative aspect. When we talk about overwhelming amount of stress, our productivity, our concentration, our ability to think clearly is affected. So therefore, it's not about good or bad. It's about how we manage it, how we utilize it, and try as much as possible to focus more towards the positive stress. Once you hit a certain threshold of stress, then it becomes non-productive. But if we're able to identify the optimal level of stress for each of us, then we'll be extremely positive. Everybody needs some degree of stress to be productive. Research indicates that 90% of all illnesses, 90% of all illnesses is contributed by stress. 90%. For every 5 minutes of emotional distress, our immune system is impacted for 6 hours. Meaning that in the 6 hours that the immune system is impacted, free radicals, carcinogens will attack our body. And this is where we get sick, we fall ill, and so on and so forth. Also, an unfortunate result of research has indicated that emotional distress equals to cancer, meaning that one of the main contributing factors of cancer is stress. There's no two ways about it. Work-related stress is nothing new. Work-related stress has unfortunately caused accidents at the workplace. Work-related stress has caused poor or bad decisions being taken and has cost companies millions and millions and millions of dollars. Also, work-related stress has increased the cost of insurance and therefore increased or reduced the bottom line of organizations and therefore their profitability. Work-related stress can be handled, can be managed, and in many organizations, interventions such as counseling services has brought down the cost to the organizations in productivity as well as accidents and downtime. If we are stressed, it's very difficult for us to apply the right approach, because physiologically what happens in our brain is called flooding. When flooding occurs, a certain chemical literally floods our synapse, and it insulates the dendrites, or it insulates the path of information, the data process, the path. It literally insulates that. So therefore our ability to think clearly is hampered. And it does take a period of time for it to dissipate. So when we are stressful, yes, your thinking process is affected. When we talk about reframing, it's a technique, it's a long-term technique, it's not a short-term technique. It's a technique where we literally reframe the way we look at things, the way we process information. We talk about being optimistic. We talk about having glasses that are bright. We're not talking about having dark glasses, looking through the glasses, everything is negative and so on. Reframing, we have to look at the stressors as something that can contribute to our success. We have to start to believe in our own abilities. When we talk about reframing, one of the things is our self-esteem. Most of the time we don't feel good about ourselves. We put ourselves down. Of course, this creates a lot of stress. It's our self-worth. So one of the things that we have to work on, we have to look at, is also how to increase our self-esteem, how we can appreciate ourselves and who we are and what we are. And the other aspects of reframing is to increase our emotional intelligence. And when we are able to manage our emotions better, we're able to manage stress, because stress impacts emotions. In our competitive society today, Malaysia developing so rapidly, there are many external factors, there are many environmental factors contributing to our stress. Now, one of the factors we're talking about children and children's schools, because of the fact that everybody feels that IQ is most important. We're putting a lot of stress on our children to achieve straight A's. We think straight A's will contribute to their success. And when the children don't succeed, there are some examples recently even in Malaysia. In the past, we talk about Japan, we talk about Singapore, where children 13, 14 years old commit suicide, attempt suicide, because they were not happy with their results. And today, most recently in Malaysia, that has happened as well. A student who did not perform as well as he or she could perform in her MCE attempted suicide. These are stresses that we put on them, we meaning the parents, we meaning society. Today in Malaysia, we are a very progressive society. We're heading towards a developed nation. And with that comes some of the unfortunate factors such as competition. Not only competition about our children's grades, but also competition about who has the biggest house, who has the biggest car. The material gains, materialistic, has become so important in our society, where it has put unnecessary burden on the relationship between husband and wife. This could lead to frequent fights, dissatisfaction at home. And people don't realize when we are stressed, and when we create an environment at home that is very unhappy, our children are also affected by it. We become their stressors. Our outcome will depend on our outlook of life, how we look at life. Are we optimistic? Are we pessimistic? Yeah? It is within our control. Yeah? And if we wish to look at something as being very difficult, very stressful, self-fulfillment prophecy, it will be so. We're not able to eliminate stress altogether. It's not possible. We have to live with stress hand in hand. We have to manage stress the best way possible. Stress is not necessarily negative. If we utilize stress in the right way, it's actually a motivator and helps us achieve our goals in life. So stress is not always bad. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, stress is not all bad. Stress actually can contribute to our success. If we're not able to manage or understand stress, yes, then it can affect us in a negative way. We are in charge, we are in control. So please remember that. What we have to do is we have to try to reframe the way we look at stress. Thank you very much and good morning.